And we're back.
It's all you, buddy.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. Welcome, everyone. We are live. And I'm obviously out of practice on this too. So yeah, welcome everyone. It is Tuesday. We have it's a special installment again of SVT Time called Sweet Talk. This is actually Dom's brainchild here. So we're just gonna ease back into this.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody for joining us. Today we're going to talk about SVT Suite.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. I know it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to talk about SVT Suite. We're going to answer a bunch of your questions too. So please keep the questions and the comments coming in. We'll answer them accordingly as we can. And another new thing today is we're going to cut this down to a half hour because without an artist on board, I mean, quite honestly, nobody wants to hear Dom and I talk for an entire 60 minutes. So yeah, we're going to cut it.
We certainly don't.
Yeah, I don't even want to hear myself talk for a half hour, so yeah. Or for an hour. So welcome, and Dom, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I know I'm off camera.
For a second, I'm back. You know, I knew you were going to ask me how it's been going, and I just wanted, because I seriously think it's been since right after the launch of this product, the GTDI, since we've been on here. So this is what's been going on. This thing, we actually can't make them fast enough. It's pretty incredible. So I just wanted to shout out to everybody who has gotten an SGTDI so far. Thank you for your comments, your posts. We got a lot of videos of some people in the studio and touring, and it's just all been really positive feedback, and very thankful for that.
Yeah. In fact, not to get on a touchy subject, but I know a lot of people have been looking for the SGTDI, and they're pretty much sold out everywhere right now. But we are getting more in. I think it was just kind of, did we underestimate or overestimate? I think we underestimated the amounts that we probably should have taken in, not realizing how in demand it was going to be. So we do have a bunch more coming in to fill in everybody's orders. So don't be afraid of getting into your local Ampeg dealer and placing an order and getting in line for one. They will be coming in. So apologies for launching such a great product that everybody wanted all at once, but yeah, it has been doing fantastic. I've got mine on my pedal board back here, and so but yeah, today we're gonna obviously we'll talk about anything that anybody wants to chat about, but the primary focus today is just kind of delving a little bit deeper back into SVT Suite. Now that it's got some legs, people are using it. There's a bunch of reviews that third-party reviewers and third-party YouTube channels have been talking about it, and so we just kind of wanted to dive back into it.
Yeah. I gotta say, like, as much as I'm obviously very biased as you can be, but a fanatic about this pedal and this preamp, and I was using it to record a lot of bass tracks in the last couple months, and I would send my through out to some outboard gear, or I'm sorry, I would throw my through the SVTDI just for that tube sound. I would put the preamp through some outboard gear just to get a little bit of color on it, maybe like an LA2A, something like that. And the direct out with the cab sim, I would throw it through its own channel. So I would have like 3 tracks of bass going, and it works really well for me. But I found myself, like, the amount of time that it took to do all of that versus just pulling up SVT Suite.
Yeah,
I rarely now, like, I'm like back on SVT Suite, and that's pretty much all I do. Sorry, we Ronnie Cook says, what is the pedal called and what does it do? All right, let's divert for a second. This is the SGTDI, and SGT stands for Super Grit Technology, and you can see over here, sorry, mirrored, I can't be a weatherman. Over here is it's over here is the grit circuit. So it has grit and level, and that is foot switchable. It's on a separate foot switch other than the preamp. So this is a preamp pedal that also has an overdrive, that also has a compressor, that also has cab sim, that also has a rehearsal circuit in it with aux in and phones out. It's got several different output options in terms of what includes the cab sim, what doesn't. So we call this the all-in-one bass box. It's pretty incredible. And yeah, people have been loving it. So you have the option of 3 onboard IRs, of your choice, which you can that are factory IRs that you can still modify high cut, low cut, volume per IR. And then you also have 3 IRs that you can load in yourself. They're preloaded with some more Ampeg IRs and cabs, but you can actually load in your own third-party IRs and have 6 on board total. So 3 cab, 3 user. It's pretty awesome.
Yep.
So that is the GTDI. And what I was saying was, as incredible as that is to record with, it's just so much faster to fly through here. And I'll show you. Go to and just there it is. Go to SVT Suite, and it's basically for those of you who are just kind of tuning in the first time and you've never played through this before, don't know what this is. This is our first ever Ampeg plugin by Ampeg. And I have to say, this is not the Brainworks or UAD plugin. This is a totally different plugin. This is also not Helix. I know a lot of people put together that we are, under YGG, under Yamaha Guitar Group, both Line 6 and Ampeg. This is a totally different plugin that has basically a completely different engine, completely different capture of the models and the IRs, and we're really, really proud of it. You got tons and tons of presets per amp. So essentially, we have 3 different amps. We have the Heritage 50th Anniversary SVT. We have the SVT Pro, very, very coveted amp. And we have the Heritage SVT-CL. That's like, I can't do the math on that, but that's a lot of money in amps right there.
Yeah, that's about
like
$6,000 worth of amps.
Just in the heads.
Just in the heads. Yeah.
So now we have 8 cabs. I think I did the math on that right, including an original Squareback 810. Tons of different mic options, some room mic options. You can actually switch the room mic choice between 3 different room mics, high cut and low cut per cab. It's pretty incredibly flexible. It's pretty insane. And then we have our effects section. So it's all of our, almost all of our, it's not including the classic preamp, obviously, because we have amps in here. Yeah. But we have basically every pedal we make and then some. The Rocktaver and the Phasifier are not real world pedals, maybe just yet. Hopefully, yeah, exactly. Wink, wink. Yeah. So yeah, you can move these around in any order that you like, which is amazing, and you save presets all day long. It's pretty incredible. So the thing that's cool that I was talking about with the GTDI, sending that through the SVT DI, the coveted all tube DI. That we used to sell back in the day. That model of that DI is actually in the plugin running parallel. So instead of running a separate track, which you could literally just turn this off, have a whole track of just your bass sound, whatever you want here, you can have this running in parallel like you would in a studio situation. And we even added the saturation knob to just get a little bit more tube saturation out of this DI. It's pretty incredible. I know some people that just use that alone in this plugin. But what else is cool is that, say you're running into a cab in a live situation, or you have your own effects pedals or whatever, you can turn any of these sections off. So it's pretty flexible.
Question for you, Dom. So can you go back to the effects pedals?
Yep.
Just real quick. Signal flow, left to right or right to left?
It is left to right. So you see these little arrows?
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's hard on the screen. I'm blind as a bat, and I'm looking on a little 13-inch monitor here. But
I know a lot of people, like when they set up their physical pedal boards in the real world, it's right to left. But we just want to make that clear with these little arrows that just in digital land, that's the way it's flowing.
Okay. Now the other thing I want to point out too is, you know me, I'm a big proponent of that SVT DI. I've got several of them.
Yeah.
That just the SVT DI, if you were to go out on the vintage market or the used market and find them, they're running anywhere between $300 to $500, depending on the condition, if they come with the little carrying bag. And then the mic pre, which is actually this guy here, is so what we have. The big difference between the mic pre is you do have a saturation knob on top.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
So, Dino, did you know that mine came in a Jack Daniels carrying case?
Yeah, I did, because it's mine. That's actually my DI. Smile. That's my West Coast DI. So
look how pristine it is. I've kept it in great condition.
Well, that's just it. I know it's safe with you, but yeah. So the DI that is in the suite is actually probably it's a combination of the mic pre and the DI, because you do have that saturation control in the suite. So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, I mean, these things are going, depending on condition, anywhere between $300 and $500. And the mic pre's are nearly impossible to find. So
we have a comment that says the Rocky PF Flyer says Rocky setting in SVT Suite is awesome. I personally want to thank you for saying that, because I created all the presets, and honestly, Rocky is one of the ones I go to first, and I always wondered if that resonated with anybody else.
Let's hear it.
Really, let's hear it. This is with the jazz bass, Fender Jazz. So it's got I like using it with a pick, which I know is here somewhere. Let me grab one.
It's got just a little bit of grit, but it's still clean.
There we go.
Cool. There you go.
So it's like, nice and clean, like you said, a little bit of overdrive, but when basically in each preset, all the sections, effects, amp, and cab, all have their own settings. So it's not like when you go to the next preset, these are going to be exactly how they are here. They're all set up tailor-made per preset. So essentially, you want a little bit more grit, you just kick it in. That's about as rock as it gets right there. I love it. And then you can hear in my jazz bass, I'm getting some 60 cycle and some hum there.
Yep.
Noise gate is your friend.
And that's common in a jazz bass too, when you start to roll off one pickup or the other.
Yeah. Or you're like me and have like a million LED lights and monitors going on now.
I was gonna say, you cleaned up your studio, man.
I tried to, these weren't in the forefront enough. The 50th and the 15 there.
Like we were talking about earlier versus yard sale. and I did say yard sale, not yard sale. Yard sale.
Your lamp wins though.
The lamp, and if you notice, I did move my Heritage 50th down here. So I've got the Heritage 50th. The problem is, once something comes down into the studio, it has to live down here because it's such a bear to get up the back stairs. Yeah, it's crazy. So back to the suite. So the other thing I want to kind of commend and point out about the suite, that coming from somebody that, like myself, that I would say I'm pretty inexperienced when it comes to different microphones. And like everybody here, I'm sure we don't have thousands and thousands of dollars to go experiment with Neumanns and Sennheisers and Coles and Royers. But this suite has allowed me to experiment and know what, not that I'll have, I probably will never go into I shouldn't say never, but what it has allowed me to do is be more knowledgeable on microphones. So when I am in a situation in a recording studio or live, I can make suggestions. Hey, do you have a Royer? Do you have a Coles? Do you have a 57?
Yeah.
But this is really cool because it has allowed me to experiment with mic placement, with mic settings, and I just wanted to put that out there for anybody that comes into it from the same situation that I came into, where I come from the school of basically putting a Beta 52 in front of a bass cab or a D112 and call it a day. So,
I really learned a lot too in the development of this, just about the nuance of like you're saying, every single different mic and angled versus like the position that I didn't even know I knew what sound I liked, but I didn't know how to get there like that. And now through SVT Suite, exactly what you're saying, if you're either on the road and you're using this or in your studio or whatever, or you go to somewhere else where they physically have all this available, you can instantly be like, oh, I want an RE20 on a, angled on the cone or something like that.
Yeah.
What I was really shocked about was the 121, that I would never think to put that on bass, and it sounds really cool.
Yeah. There's a lot of mics in there that I've never even heard of, to be honest. I've never heard of, some of the models that we've done.
Yeah.
But
wow, Joe Hammond, thank you for all your support. Got a lot of good products there. The SCRDI, Opticomp, Liquefier, some Neos. Ooh, the SVT Pro is like one of my first and favorite Ampeg amps.
Yep. That's I mean, we could do a whole SVT time just on the Pro series and just on the 3 Pro. Actually, we could do that. In fact, we've been, for those that are just joining in too. So I know we've been absent for the last couple of months, obviously with summer vacations. And the biggest thing though, I will say is, artists are back on tour, you know, and like everybody that I have asked to join us on SVT Time, even repeat artists are like, man, I'd love to do it. You know, here's my schedule, and everybody's touring, which is, you know, it sucks for us because we can't get artists on to have, but this gives us an opportunity to talk about product and just kind of have personal time with the customers or end users or Ampeg fans, where we can just answer questions and whatnot. But yeah, so I don't even know where I was going with this, other than just maybe an apology that we've been absent for the last few months. And now that we're coming out of summer, we'll start doing more of these again every other week or so. We'll have SVT Time and Sweet Talk and talk more about product and field everybody's questions here too as well.
Yeah. You know, what's cool too is you mentioned the touring thing. Like if you have like no stage footprint that you're allowed in terms of like your production team or whatever, whether you're full-time bassist or you're playing synth bass and bass, or you're auxiliary player and you're playing a bunch of different instruments, and that includes bass or synth bass, this is actually incredible. If you're using main stage, or just have Logic or some kind of DAW as your main setup, and you don't have an amp anyway, and you're just doing ears, like, I don't know why you wouldn't want this. You could have your preset saved per song, and like, yeah, it could be pretty cool.
Yep.
There's also MIDI control here, so a lot of people don't know this. So if you oh, I'm not on this camera. There we go. If you go with the MIDI learn functionality, you literally in any view have all these MIDI assignable features, which is so cool. So if you had a MIDI switcher, you could essentially use this virtual pedal board.
So I mean, could you essentially control this with a Helix floor?
Yeah.
I was just curious if, you know, for anybody that has a floor, or like you said, any MIDI controller, but I was just curious if you could do it with a MIDI floor. And now you're opening yourself up to a whole bunch of other things too. But
yeah, like basically all of these parameters, anything highlighted there in green is MIDI assignable.
And it's the other thing we forgot to mention too. When this first launched, it was, you had to run it in a DAW. And how long ago did we issue the standalone version? 6 months, maybe a year ago,
right? About 6 months, I think.
So you don't have to have a DAW open to operate this. You can just operate it as a standalone, as a performance tool. There's and I don't know if I can, I won't mention the name of the band, but I just sent them 2 copies of SVT Suite because they want to start experimenting with front of house and monitors.
Oh, cool.
Using it in a live setting, which, I mean, you know, and they are running pretty much a clean stage. There's no amps on stage. Everything is backstage or off in the wing. So, when they asked me about it, I was like, yeah, actually, you know, is there a latency issue, do you think, in a live performance? Or I haven't noticed any problems with latency, to be honest with
I think it's all that at that point it's dependent on your laptop and what you're using in terms of buffer size and everything. But you can definitely for sure, on like the last probably 3 years of MacBook Pros, I think you could go out and perform with that and you probably wouldn't notice any actual latency. Yeah. And then if you have like or never mind. Never mind.
No, I was going to say, so the latency is dependent on the machine, not necessarily the software.
Correct.
Am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Coming from a troglodyte like myself, that my personal MacBook is 12 years old because I refuse to buy anything new right now.
I totally get it. I just got a new one and I'm so mad at it all the time.
That's why.
Like, I know, it's like the machine doesn't catch up, like the OS doesn't fit the machine yet. So
right.
Hey,
I
was gonna say, should I go through all these presets?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so yeah, let's look at some of the presets, because we have quite a bit of artist presets on here too. So yeah.
Here. So actually, I'm gonna fly through
I'm wondering if
amp
we can
preset.
make your screen big. Aaron, if you're listening, can we make Dom's screen the big screen? Like yeah, there you go.
All right, you hear that okay?
Oh, but my screen is still, for some reason, my screen is in here. Nope. It's the other screen, Aaron. That's my screen.
There it is. Oh, yeah. Still
yeah.
Pushing the other one.
And get mine out of there. Or not.
or you can go through them.
There we go. That's good enough. That works.
So all the presets start on the 50th.
Yep. When you open the suite, it's the 50th, and then what about cabinets or anything?
Yeah. So the default is the 50th, and then we of course have two 810s because why not? One of the new era, one of the original square back. Can you imagine look at those side strap handles? That's insane. But yeah, that's the way you did it back in the day. And this cab was probably like 200 pounds or something insane.
It was north of 160 pounds.
Yeah. I love that little logo though. It's pretty cool.
Can you help me carry this up the fire escape?
What's cool too is like the low cut and high cut. This low cut is incredible for the studio because we give you all of the low end air and woofiness that this would actually be in real life, and you can kind of surgically remove it if you want. If not, like on this 810 AV, I have that completely off, which is great. Sometimes you want that very, very subby low end, which is amazing. So yeah, the presets start on the 50th. We go default, which is like a jumped channel setting because the 50th anniversary Heritage 50th has 1969 voicing, the original SVT in channel 1, and then the Magnavox era 1975 mid-70s version of the SVT in channel 2, which is very cool because you can jump those and get a bunch of different tonal capabilities there. And then we get into channel 1 clean. We start kind of zeroing out each channel 2 clean.
Now I can't see your cursor because of the way StreamYard is, but basically what he's doing is you just click on that cable going into channel 2 and it switches through all the inputs.
Yep. Yeah, you can go through all your different jumped configurations.
Yeah.
You just cycle through there. It's great stuff. And basically all I'm doing to change these presets are these blue arrows up and down. So you got your channel 1 clean, channel 2 clean, your jumped clean. This is like my favorite one.
Jump clean. Yeah.
And then we get into edgy. So obviously we have a little bit more grid on. We got the Opticom. That's not even with the scrambler. So you add scrambler into that.
Yeah.
Add Rocktaver on top.
Nice.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
To be warm. Nice and warm. All right, let's fly through because there's so many here.
Who came up with all these factory presets, Dom?
Me.
You didn't even ask me. Just saying. You know.
I'm very proud of these names too. Not Chill Friend. Very notched there. Oh yeah, Snarl is a good one.
You're a fan of the overdrive. I see.
I'm a fan of the overdrive. Then we got the 70s, like
yeah.
I was like literally just thinking of that one song. 2 scoops because you got both ultra lows on. And then so in each amp category we have a different synth bass preset for all the synth bassists out there. Nice fattener there with the what is that? The Opticomp and liquefier. Do you want to go through the SVT Pro settings for pros? Like all those presets?
Yeah, we can do that.
Switch it over to you, or am I just going to complicate things?
Yeah, no, just you're doing fine. You're doing fine.
Clean and bright on the 4 Pro. We got Rocky.
Now,
This is the favorite.
I was just going to say real quick for anybody that, and it's hard to imagine anybody that is watching this that isn't familiar with the Pro Series stuff. It is a hybrid, so it's a tube pre with a solid state power section versus the Heritage 50th, which was all tube. So continue.
Yeah, it's like MOSFET power, is that right?
Yeah, it's MOSFET power. And the one thing I will say that a lot of players like about the 4 Pro is it's fast. The power section is quick versus an all tube power section, which kind of be kind of saggy and kind of frumpy sounding. Guys like the 4 Pro just because of the fast response of the power section.
Especially on a preset like Modern Punch with a jazz bass.
Nice. Now are you when you switch through these presets, it's obviously changing the cab parameters in the back too, correct? Okay.
Correct, yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So you can find a preset that you like and go in and change cabinets, change microphones, change axes, do all that as well.
Yeah, and I mean most of these presets have 2 cabs, but you can absolutely just do a single cab.
Yep. Now, one thing I just before we jump off here, because we are at a half hour, so
I know flying through, and I'm not even through. Let's just skip over to so basically CL has a ton of good stuff. Let's go to artists and producers and just go through those real quick because these are pretty cool and unique. Got Barry Pointer's presets here. I love how like saturated that one sounds.
Yeah.
Kirk, to answer your question, I don't think you need an M1. I think that MacBook Pro Retina with the i7 will do just fine. Daydreaming is so cool. Love that. No good. Bury me nice. Nice. There, I like that.
You know what? I don't think we're going to get through all the presets.
Yeah.
So
I think you're right.
This might.
Here's a. Let me turn this bass down. But this is the artist list for the latest version of the plugin.
You know what? We're gonna schedule another Sweet Talk to go through some more of these presets as well. So
these are really cool. These presets are very, very different from those nerdy factory ones that other guy set up.
Yeah. We're not gonna go there. But the other thing I just wanted to point out before we split is Keys is asking which platforms is the suite available? Windows, Mac,
Windows, and Mac. Yep.
Okay. When you do have a preset that you like, how do you save it?
Yep. Let me show you.
And I know this is a rhetorical question because I know how to do it, but
it's like, Dino, come on, you don't know?
Well, it's easy for you to just share your screen, and I want to see if you're saving stuff the way I'm saving stuff.
Yeah. So you have your preset that you start on. Let's say you open up the plugin, you're on default, and let's say I want to change the amp to CL, and I just want to change some parameters here. Oh, we didn't share in the back of the amp on the tube amps, the all tubes. You actually not only can adjust each of these, we call them like deep amp edit parameters, but they have like starting points. So saggy, you can already hear
you can change bias and hum and everything.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So let's say I'm going to say, and that saves with your preset. So I know this says it's a preset for the rear of the amp, but it actually saves with your overall preset. So go here and since that's the default, it's not letting me, or no, I'll go save as.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And then I'll say SVT time. And there, that's it. That's as easy as it is.
Yep. And then it saves it as a .svt file, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So
and then you can see the factory ones are in green, and then your own saved ones are in blue.
Now, real quick, I know like Helix users sell their packages online. Some of them do. Some guys just give stuff away for free. I know John Willis gives a lot of his stuff, so at some point you guys can start sharing your presets for one another,
Yep.
And if I don't know how eventually this is going to get into where, we'll have a message board and where guys can go in and share presets.
I'm curious if you are interested in having like a Ampeg marketplace type situation where we are basically having a big marketplace where you can share, download presets, IRs, the whole thing. Please let us know. Please let us know on Idea Scale. And I'm sure Ampeg Haji, because he's all over it, has a link to that. And and that goes for any product idea.
Yeah,
we actually do regularly go through that. And a lot of like SGTDI basically came out of a bunch of people on Idea Scale wanting this exact thing. We threw some extra bells and whistles in, but still, we're listening. I promise.
Yep. Okay, before we go, question unrelated to the stream theme, if it's okay, as a proud owner of a new Heritage 50, thank you, Haji. Is it damaging to the head to play through Ampeg SVT 410HE 8 ohm cab at rehearsal volumes? So yeah, there is a bunch of different information. So technically, no. Any SVT, the Heritage 50th, the CL, and the Heritage CL, they're rated for either 2 or 4 ohms. It's really not recommended to run them at 8 ohms. And yeah, we try to discourage anybody from doing that, to be honest with you. So that's the short answer. The long answer is you'll have to come back for another episode of SVT Time. How's that for a cliffhanger, folks?
Wow.
No,
wow.
I mean, I have, at the risk of blowing an output transformer, run my SVT at 8 ohms several times. And I know Haji is screaming at me right now in the background because has screamed at me in person many times when I said it. And yeah, sure, and thank you very much. Oh, I thought that was Haji's comment. Yeah. So no, it really isn't recommended to do that. I take the chance at doing it, and one of these days, Haji's going to get a call from me saying, "Dude, can you show me how to wire a new output transformer into my amp?" So yeah, but yeah, thank you. Congratulations on the Heritage 50th, and hopefully you get your 810 cab in pretty soon there too, so you can run that. But or you can add another 8 ohm cab if you have access to another 410HE or just another 8 ohm cab and run them in parallel, and that'll give you the 4 ohms.
Yeah, because that 410HE was pretty much meant to run with the 115, right? When both were created.
Yeah, that was the whole idea between the 410HE, which I got to tell you, that's one of my favorite sounding cabinets, is that 410HE.
Yeah.
But it was designed to run as a pair or run with the 15E. Yeah. Two 8 ohm loads. So yeah, guys, gals, folks, man, I almost feel like this is. I almost
maybe
feel
45 minutes is the sweet spot.
Yeah, because so if, like I had mentioned at the beginning of this, for anybody that's just joining us, we said we were going to cut it down to a half hour because nobody wants to hear Dom and I talk for an entire hour. But you guys have hung with us this whole time, so maybe 45 minutes is the sweet spot. And then when we have guest artists on, an hour usually for guest artists. Sometimes the sky's the limit. You know, there's been times we've had Rudy on and it's gone an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, and he's more than happy to talk with us. So,
and he's got great stories. So it's like,
oh, he's got the best stories.
Gonna keep it going.
He's got the best stories.
We could go the Joe Rogan route and just be here for 3 hours. That's another option.
Absolutely not. Take
pee breaks and everything.
Yeah. Keys, it was nice to hear from you too, pal. Thank you for signing in, and Kirk and everybody else. Steve, I know, was in there as well.
Yeah.
I saw Rudy 2 Fridays ago here at Tupelo Music Hall with Quiet Riot, and I got to tell you, man, you know, I don't think he makes any secret about it, but he's 72 years old. And when he took the stage, it was like watching a 20-year-old kid jumping. I
would have never in a million years guessed he was 72.
Yeah. Yep. It like, you know, like I said, you know, we hung out earlier, then he came out and did his show, and I hope I have half as much energy as he does at 72, at 62, and I'm quite not there yet, but we'll see.
I think it's proof that rock and roll, I mean, look at Rolling Stones, the ones who are still survived, they're doing well. Rock and roll is good for the soul.
It is
Good.
It absolutely is, especially if you make a lot of money at it, because then you can afford
that helps.
you can afford to pay somebody to take care of you in the long run. No. Anyways, guys, thank you all for joining in. Dom, thanks for hanging with me, pal.
Likewise.
We will be back in 2 weeks, not next Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, and we're going to have something really special for you. But I'm not going to even allude to what it is. But it's going to be a very special follow-up SVT time.
Yeah, I don't even know what that is. So
yeah, I'm even keeping it a secret from Dom because he tells everybody.
I'll be there, I guess. I don't know.
You will be. Yeah, you're going to have to be there because you're kind of involved in it. Anyways, folks, thanks for joining in, and rock on, play more bass, and we'll see y'all in 2 weeks.
See y'all.
See ya.